Hey, I know nobody has hopped on here, so hey, I'm just gonna make this really short video. I was actually gonna film it, but I thought the memory on my phone is not so good, so let me just go with this and do this live. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about today was, I'm still in the Lost Teachings of Atlantis, and I'm on chapter 22, and I saw this section on men and women and soulmates, and I was like, huh, gotta talk about it. What I wanted to do was just read a couple of verses in here and then kind of brainstorm with you guys. And I see that no one's hopped on, so I'm just talking to myself, so I'll just let it roll. So if you remember in some of the videos previously, because I know I've posted a ton of videos, and if you have time, just kind of go through and look at them on YouTube, and also I guess at the bottom page of this group, because I started the group, I formed the page like 6 months ago, 7 months ago maybe, and it was just for me to dump information out there and maybe meet a few people and to have a couple, hey Buffy, have a couple of people jump on and just kind of give me their worldviews and see if they had, you know, similar experiences or similar thoughts. So anyway, when I was reading chapter 22 over men, women, and soulmates, I found it very interesting because I grew up in the church, right? Like you guys probably did. And so my perception or my understanding of the Adam and Eve story is completely different than what the teachings of the children of the Law of One, the Lost Teachings of Atlantis, discuss. My version or my understanding of the Adam and Eve story is that Eve was in the garden. She was tempted by the serpent to eat of a forbidden fruit from a specific tree. I was always taught that it was an apple. But here's the thing. I also was taught later on growing up that Eve may have had a sexual relationship with the serpent. Hence, that is why you have the differences between Cain and Abel, and that's why the murder took place. Because, let's see, Adamu, which was the first man that was created, and Eve was the first female, supposedly, that was created. They had a child, Abel, and then Cain came along. Cain is probably the serpent's child. So that's why you read in Scripture where it says that the seed of the serpent will be against the man, and I'm paraphrasing it. It will bring enmity against men, and I think that's where that started from, right? So that's what I was taught. When I read these verses of these scriptures, I had to process this from the teachings of Atlantis because it gave me a completely different, hi Buffy, it gave me a completely different view of the interpretation, right? So, and of course you guys know, and I've talked about this before, and it's written in ancient text, and you can read the same thing. We're on a sixth extinction event, meaning we are the sixth stage of humans that's been on this planet. There have been other species on this planet, right? So when you start looking at these teachings and you start reading the scriptures, there are layers within there that you have to peel back, right? I hope that makes sense. So when I read this story, I was like, that's why it says this in the Bible. That's why it says it in the canonical text. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you a comparison of the Adam and Eve story, and then I'm going to read you the comparison of the teachings of the children of the Law of One, Lost Teachings of Atlantis. And then hopefully it'll make sense to you, right? So when I saw this, like the little bell went off in my head. I was like, it took me a couple days to process it. So that's why I'm doing this live video right now. So really quickly, if you all remember when we were in our, well, obviously we're not going to remember, but let's put it this way. Before we fell, we were in our angelic state. We were one with the universal consciousness, one with the universal spirit, with God, right? We came upon this earth and we wanted to experience it, okay? And of course, with the polarity, the positive and negative, the male and female aspects, the female is positioned on the outside. So what happened? The feminine aspect wanted to experience the creation, right? The earth. So the feminine aspect fell first. I hope that makes sense. So that, I think, is why for so long in scripture, and it's been used in religious teachings all around the world, is that the woman is the reason why the fall, or the reason why the world is the way it is because the woman tempted the man and ate the fruit. My whole concept of this, though, is different maybe, and you guys could chime in if you want. To me, it's like if you're in a relationship and the woman wants to do one thing and the man wants to do another, you are your own individual. Okay, a woman can nag and pick and argue with you until you give in as a man, but truly you are your own person. And so you have free will to say, no, I'm not going to eat this fruit. I'm not going to do this. And a man can put his foot down. And if he's set in his ways and he's not going to do it, he's not going to eat the damn fruit, right? Hey, Brian. He's not going to eat the fruit. So my whole point is, when I read this story, and I've always had a problem with this Adam and Eve story, when you read it, it's almost like it's the woman's fault, right? And I can understand why now. Really, I can understand why it's reading like that, but it's been misinterpreted. So let me just get into it, okay? So let me just read this. So when we were in connection with the universal consciousness and a universal spirit with God, we were both male and female. There was no separation of the two. When we fell to this third density, we split off consciously from God, and we split off consciously within ourselves. So that's why you have a male and that's why you have a female. And all this time, you guys, we have been looking for our soulmates in this planet, on this planet, in this third dimension, in these avatar bodies. We're trying to get back to our soulmate, and we're trying to get back to the creator of all. So we're trying to do two things, if that makes sense. That's so freaking confusing. So what we must remember is we need to put the universal consciousness, our God, first. And I know that's, everybody probably goes to church, they're religious, they're spiritual. They've always been, I put God first. But do you really put him first? I mean, let's just be honest. I don't put the creator of all first all the time. I'm not even going to sit up and lie to you guys. I don't. I am my own separate, selfish self. And I see that. After reading this book, I see that I am my own separate self. And I see why I've been in the karmic loop, stuck, coming back over and over and over. Is because I got shit to work out. I'm sorry. I don't mean to curse, but I'm just telling you, I got my own shit to work out. I think we all got our own shit to work out because we're still here, right? So here's what it says. Now I'm going to do the comparison really quickly because I know you guys are probably getting ready to go to work if you're working or if you're still staying at home. But here's the comparison. So 1, we all had the wonder and beauty of the entire universe, which we lived in and enjoyed after creation. Okay, this is the creation of everything, all right? That is the number one thing you need to take away. Adam and Eve story, okay? That's the teachings of Atlantis. Now here's the Adam and Eve story. Adam and Eve lived in the Bible's Garden of Eden, okay? 2, we could wander and enjoy the entire universe with no cares as long as we remained one with it all in our angelic state. That is Atlantis teachings. That's what that states. Now, the canonical Bible, the version of that says, and we see in the Bible story, as long as Adam and Eve remained open, receptive, humble, and obedient to the will of the universal spirit, God, all was in perfect balance, peace, harmony, and happiness, and that prevailed. 3, the teaching states, but we had free will. In coming upon the wonders of the unique experience of the earth, we found that we enjoyed the sensations of delving into our polarized material plane. But to do so, we had to lower our vibration and partake of the separateness of manifesting into a physical avatar body, physical existence. We were faced with an option to either just appreciate it from afar, but not get attached to it, or get fully involved and enmeshed in it. And in contemplating our free will choices, now this is the key, and realizing we could do other than God's will, we exercised this right selfishly. This resulted in separation from the one, which is God, okay? It resulted in a separation from the one and the creation of the world full of selfish people. When I read that, I was like, that just chimed in. It just spoke volumes to me. I understood from there, right there, what happened. Because I could see me being an angel, flying around, just existing. Okay, just existing, both male and female. I'm a complete being, and then look, a planet. I want to go see what that's like. I can see me doing that. I still can see me doing that. That just summed it up right there. So that was the teachings. Now here's what it says in the Bible. Adam and Eve chose to eat the fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, the duality, the material manifestation, and in so using their will to go against the will of God, they separated themselves from God, the one. The original sin is selfishness, which was committed, and by the universal law of cause and effect, separation from God ensued, and this was the casting out of Eden or the paradise, right? Thusly, no longer one with God or in harmony with the universal will, they accumulated negative karma, right, from the selfish behavior that resulted from the separate selfish consciousness, which created a life of suffering and darkness. So, in our slowing down our vibration and falling to this third density, right, we became selfish, alone, cut off, and we are running around here like we're nuts, looking for our soulmates and trying to get back to the creator of all. Meanwhile, we're being controlled by these dark forces, right? We're controlled by the duality because light and dark has to exist within the material, well, not even the material plane, but in the creation period. God is not a man. God is energy. It's light, and it possesses light and dark. And it shed fractal pieces, and this is where you come up with all these macrocosms and microcosms. So when I read that, I was like, that just, I had to process that. It took me a couple of days to process this information because I was like, when you put it in that context and you understand what has transpired all these millions and millions of years, then you get the sense of how really small you are. How really you're like a speck on the creator's eye, really, seriously. Because there are so many of us that, are going through so much. And when I read this and I put this into perspective, it all comes back to the fall, y'all. It all comes back to the fall. When we fell, okay, because in other videos, I don't know if you watched them, when I discussed the initial teachings of the first chapter in the Lost Teachings of Atlantis, it talks about how we fell. The first wave came down, and of course we read it was the feminine aspect that started it, okay? The first wave came down, and then the other entities or other beings saw this. And this is where you get Grandmaster Yeshua, Thoth, T-H-O-T-H, Thoth, and he's also known as Jesus Christ because it was the same entity. It was the same being. He came down in the second wave. But with that being said, when he came down, it was sanctioned, and he slowed down his vibration slow enough to where he didn't get this problem. He didn't have this problem, okay? And he was not alone when he came down. Now, there are some that did fall in the second wave that split off, and they are still circumventing the earth. They're still on this plane, and they still haven't woken up. And I have to probably break this video up into a second part to go into it a little bit more, but it makes so much sense to me now that while we are seeking, we're seeking our soulmate. We're seeking the person, the other half of ourselves. And that's why when you get married, when you go through the services and things like that, you know, you want to find a partner who you're yoked with, you're evenly yoked with, that you know, this person, I'm not going to say completes your sentences, but it's your other half, it's your other part. And so few of us find our mates. And it says, and I'll just end it here, it says in this book that you may have found your mate, but you and your mate may not even get along. You may be bumping heads. It may be somebody you broke up with years ago, and that truly is the other half of you from creation. But because of the karma that you guys have both incurred from being separated from each other, from yourselves, you won't get back with that person, or it'll be very difficult to do it until you shed, here's the kicker, until you shed your selfish, separate self. And I can tell you, by me reading this book and studying it, because I have to put it down. I can't just read it daily because it's like somebody stabbing you with like tiny little daggers all over your body, if I can put it in an analogy, because it's like when I read these pages, it is talking to me, and I see myself in this book, and I see myself going through all this stuff, and I'm like, damn, that makes so much sense why my life has been like it has been. That makes so much sense why things have happened, and I couldn't put a label on it, or I couldn't understand it until after it passes. it makes sense. So I hope this video has made some type of sense this morning. I literally rolled out of bed and came out here on the patio, lit candles so the mosquitoes wouldn't get me. And I said, let me do this video because I went to bed last night. I woke up at 4 o'clock and I was like, should I get on the camera now? And I'm like, no, I'll wait. But I wanted to share that with you guys because it makes so much sense why we are struggling with the things that we are doing right now. And I mean, we are all on our path, right? You guys are on your path. I'm on my path. And it's no mistake while you're watching this video, while you join the Facebook, while you're in this group. It's not. Everything is by design. Everything is synchronicity. And you have to look at it as though, okay, there's a bigger picture here. And what am I missing? What am I not seeing? What is it that I'm supposed to be doing right now in this date and time in my life in 2020? What can I do better? Because honestly, I want you guys to be the best version of yourselves. Like, I want to be the best version of myself. But, you know, it takes work. And we all have baggage. We all have crap. Hey, girl. Oh, thank you. I'm just being myself, girl. I see so much crap going on. And it's like, you know, I just want to learn and grow from everybody because I think we are all one. We're all one big family, and people don't really see that. They look at, you know, my skin, my hair. They look at it. They look at the outside, but they don't look at the person, the being in the eyes, the person powering the vessel. And that's the thing. If we can get back to that, if we can just get rid of all these walls and all this crap that we've built up, and learn to love each other for the being in powering the vessel, then we could get back to the Creator. But I think we have a long way to go, and we have such a short time frame to get there now. I mean, because this stuff is moving exponentially. It's in full realm. It's been working this way for thousands of years, but now we're at the end of it. We're in the end of days right now. So it's key for all of us to try to break down. Yeah, we're all souls, just different skins. Right, we are. We really are. We're all energy beings. That's all we are. And the crazy thing is that when you say that to the average person, they look at you like, what? Yeah? They don't get it. Most people don't get that. They really don't get it. And I think that's our job for those of us who know to, I'm not going to say teach, but just to let other people know, hey, you know, how about you look at it from this perspective and not just look at it as being racial hate or, you know, economic hate or just all this stuff is going on. I mean, I think it starts from, yeah, they are clueless. I think it starts from within. If you can work on yourself and go within yourself, that's why I say shadow work, because you have to work on yourself. How can you make somebody else happy if you are not happy internally yourself? You got to be comfortable with yourself. You got to be comfortable with who you are, and you got to be comfortable in your own skin. Yeah, right. The other people are clueless. I agree with you. There are a lot of people out there that are totally clueless. They're missing the mark. They're missing the entire point of really what this creation was. Because I truly believe in reading these teachings. I truly believe that this place was supposed to be, I'm not going to say a vacation. It was supposed to be a beautiful place, a loving place, a peaceful place to come and have an experience. But it didn't turn out that way. And now, unfortunately, from what I'm reading, and I'm not just talking about the lost teachings of Atlantis, I'm talking about all the other ancient texts that I've read over the last 6 years. It looks to me as though, you know, it started off in one way and it just completely went back crazy. It just went south, and it's been many of these ascended beings that have come down to try to put us on the right path to get us back to the one, but we are just not getting it. We're stuck in this lower state of vibration and a lower state of our separateness and our selfishness. And until we can peel back those layers, then we're not going to get to where we need to be. So anyway, thanks for joining me, Buffy. Thanks for joining me, you guys. And I hope you guys have a great day. And I will try to come back with the second part of this because there is more in this chapter that we need to discuss. But I just wanted to put that out there for food for thought so you guys can think that, hey, this is why I'm seeking my soulmate, because I really was one being with both male and female. And that is why you are seeking that relationship with that person and you seeking the one. But what we're not doing is we need to seek the one first, and the one will bring us, the universal consciousness will bring us our other half. And that's the point that I'm trying to get to. All right, you guys. Y'all have a great day. Thanks for joining me. Bye.